Yo, what's up? Back finally with another meta update. Why I haven't been doing them is kind of a couple of different reasons, but the game was stale for a while. I wasn't playing a lot of ranks, so I didn't want to give you information that was just wrong or I didn't have the information for. Having said that, it is now back and collab with the former SCC solo laner Snaddy. He was on the Athenian stages, and he's going to be talking about a couple of the roles later on in the video. Make sure you go sub to him. He'll be linked down below. Both his Twitch and his YouTube will be linked. Anyway, as per usual, start with a carry role, move all the way down to solo lane, and we're going to have a change. Someone who I don't think I've talked about, Charybdis. Charybdis had I believe, just got quad buffed. And when that usually happens, that means it's pretty good. Charybdis feels really good right now. I don't really think this character's amazing, but how fast her 2 comes out, the safety her 3 now provides with how fast it goes in, and it's now CC immune while she's going in. This is kind of the build you're going to be looking at. You can go any of these starter items. I think Leather Cowl is probably just your best option, but Mannequin Scepter and Death's Toll both still work. Devos into Exy. You get your Executioner Glyph at a certain point in the build. You can go Kins. You can either go Dominance or Odysseus Bow into Titan's Bane. A lot of people seem to be preferring the Odysseus Bow into Titan's Bane, so it seems to be that way. But Charybdis is just a safe pick right now. She does a lot of damage. Just works really well. Hachimon's still good. People are just sick and tired of playing him. Same build I put up for Charybdis can work for Hachimon. He does the same thing. He's safe. He has a lot of damage. He's a lot of trade potential, a lot of poke. Overall, incredibly strong with the amount of damage and kill potential he has in that lane. On her, I barely know her.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
On her would be our next pick because of the amount of damage he can do, the amount of kill potential he has, and just the amount of pressure he provides. On her in the late game is a little bit weaker than some of the 80 carries, but he's still very strong. He's an 80 carry in the late game. You'd get the same build that was provided for the other hunters, the same Kins, Xe, Oboe build, and he just feels good. You can have a lot of kill potential on her, and he's not that hard to pilot. He's safe. And once you get good with this character, you can get really good with this character and start pulling off some nasty stuff that makes you feel good. Ishtar's been kind of falling off, but that's, I think, again, the same reason Hachimon is, and that's just because people are sick of playing her. She's still really good. The pressure she provides, the clear she has, the kill potential she has, she has a CC min ultimate, a lot of safety. She just feels really strong. It's not really much more to go about it. Same build as the other hunters. She's just good. Lastly, I'm going to recommend Rama. He is solely auto-attack based, other than his ultimate, obviously. But he is just powerful. Late game, he does a lot of what you want a hunter to do. He has that safety in the fact that he's a sky god, and he brings himself up. He's up in the air for a long time. He can also finish off kills that barely get away. He can steal objectives from a long distance. He has decent lane pressure. Not really more to it. Same build as the other hunters. Moving over to support. As per usual, I don't think I said this the last few times, but Ares and Yemoja. If you're good with them, play them, because they can absolutely run lobbies. If you have a lot of playtime on them and you are really good with them, Ares can just snowball and get out of control, and Yemoja just has so much playmaking potential that you could do. Realistically, I think the best ranked support right now is kind of up in the air. With the changes, some people are saying Fafnir, some people are saying Terra, some people are saying Kuzenbo, some people are saying Maui. I think all 3 picks are good, or all 4 picks, excuse me. I do want to talk about Fafnir a bit, because people are doing something different. You're going your normal Gauntlet of Thieves, you can go your Eldritch Dagger, you can go another defensive item, but you're going Demonic Grit. Why are you doing this? Because now his breath can apply it in the dragon form. And that is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Especially if you have a magical hunter on your team. A lot of people are going to be playing Olarun in this coming patch because of a couple of changes. I think Olarun is a super bait character, though, at least in ranked. But the Demonic Grip helps you shred through procs and makes you do so much damage. The Gauntlet of Thebes is just solid. You can go Prophetic Cloak, but on Fafnir, you're a little more tasked to stack it, whereas opposed to someone like Atlas or Charon, you literally just throw one giant circle and you get it. But yeah, Horrific's still really strong, Sprint's really good. You can go Bracer. You can even go Divine Barrier if you want to. Support builds aren't as cut and dry as some of the hunter builds are. But the sort of main gist of it is if you can stack Prophetic really easily, you probably want to go Prophetic. And if you can't, you go Gauntlet of Thieves first. And then you can follow it up with Eldritch Dagger, and then Pridwin for CDR, or you can go Breastplate. Either one works. If they have more physical, you could probably just go breastplate, or you can go sovereignty if they have 4 physical. War flag, I think, is personally the best ranked starter item. In competitive, you can go a bit more intricate, but I think in ranked, war flag is just supreme. It just feels good. Terra strong because the amount of CC she can provide, the healing she has for her team, the amount of damage she could do. Her early game clear, now that she can use her 1 without upgrading it, is actually pretty good. I've said it a couple times now. The ability to pick somebody up and throw them into your entire team is pretty good. The amount of CC you have, the anti-healing, the gigantic slow, the safety you have as a Sobek is just strong. You'd probably go a similar build as you would with the Terra that I showed you before, but support items are a lot more situational. You can go a Spectral if you need it. You can go a Mid-Guardian Mail if you need it. Hell, a Chronos Pendant if you want to. Maui feels really good right now. A couple of changes to him makes him feel less clunky, and overall he just feels super strong. The amount of CC he can provide, the amount of displacement he provides, but he's much more of a team character. That aura the 2 provides is incredible. The amount of CC he has and the amount of setup he has is really good, and that gigantic island and the player-made terrain that it provides is just so strong. If you aren't playing him as a support, I would play a couple of games of him first to see if you like him, and then try him out in rank. Now, my last pick here is between a couple of picks. You could still look at Athena, you could look at Ganesha, you can look at Kuzumbo, you could still look at Charon. They're all decent. You can't really go wrong. Moving over to the mid lane, we still got the Bird. Thoth is still really strong, even after the nerfs. This character can just run lobbies, absolutely shutting people down, blowing them up. He's got really good poke. He's the artillery mage that you kind of want. The only problem with him is that there are certain picks that do really well into him, like Fenrir, but he's got tons of damage, and he just puts it out there. This is kind of your core items, I would say. You can finish up with an Ob Shard. You can also throw a Spear of Desolation before the Mirrodin. You can do a lot of different things. Agni would be my next pick, because Agni is a safe, high-damage burst mage. There's really not more to it. He's got CC in the kit. He's got the dash for the safety. He's got good poke. He's got good secure. He looks into something like this. The Charon's coin doesn't have to be first. You can look into something like Doom Orb instead. Some people don't like Charon's coin first. I think it's okay to go first. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. You know, I talked about Thoth beforehand, and to sort of keep with the flow of the video, Tiamat, I think, rivals Thoth for, like, best mid in the game right now. Because she, you know what, screw that, she is the best mid in the game. She just does more and is safer than Thoth. She has less counters than Thoth. She is versatile, does an absurd amount of damage, has bursts. She just doesn't have the same artillery style Thoth does. But she has pressure in other lanes. Let's say you're doing a fire giant fight, you could throw those minions down in mid and have them run down mid and push the lanes. Some people have been slamming something like this, finishing it out with a Reaver. I think it's okay. You can also just go flat pen as well. Tablet is kind of iffy, but Tiamat is a character that makes it work. And there's not really much more to say about it. She just has so many abilities that proc it, and how many times she can just poke you with it. She just feels good with it. Also got a really nice color scheme. It's real nice. I think Morgan Le Fay is somebody that I have to mention just because of the amount of versatility she has. She's very safe despite not having a movement ability. The amount of get off of me tools she has is just insane. She's a really good poke. She has long range zoning potential. The amount of burst damage she can do is crazy. And again, like I said, the get off of me potential. You can use any of the builds I put before, other than maybe the Tiamat one, for Le Fay, and it will feel good. She's just powerful, safe, and she does a lot. Now, my last pick for mid is difficult, because I wanted to recommend a couple of different things, but I ended up deciding that Vulcan was going to be the best pick. Why? This character's a little silly. And by that, I mean, he just explodes people. I would look towards the Thoth build that I put before as his build. He has burst and the amount of damage he could do in a short period of time. And despite missing a leg, he is quite slippery. The amount of poke, the movement speed, the objective secure, burst. This character's just good. Not really much more to say about it. And I'll send it over to Snaddy for jungle.
Alrighty, welcome guys. I'm going to be doing a top 5 solos video here for climbing up for ranked and top 5 junglers. I appreciate Valve for giving me this opportunity. We're going to bullet this because I'm one who tends to yap a lot. Just a little quick background about me. I'm Snaddy. I did SEC in season 9 and 10, and I'm going to be looking to continue and play in the Pro League for Smite 2 when that does come out. So I have plenty of soloing experience. I've been doing this for a long time. And I hope that, you know, these things, especially in the solo side, prove to be helpful for climbing up. I did do a top 5 gods video on my own channel. I'd appreciate if you guys check that out, as well as just, you know, Valve's videos, stream, my stream, all that stuff. This will be a little bit different from that, only because when I made that YouTube video, I did it under the alias of top 5 solo laners from a competitive standpoint. That isn't necessarily what top 5 gods is for climbing and ranked, even though there is oftentimes overlap. Sometimes there's a bit of differences. So take that into consideration. The first character we're going to look at, and this is in no numerical order because every character listed here is going to have immense value in some type of way. So just kind of what's suited to be better for you is going to be more valuable, is going to be Achilles here. Number one, his protections are absurdly high with his passive and his second ability increasing protections by a percentage amount. This effectively means that when you build extremely tanky, your protections can go over the cap when you proc the second ability, and that means yeah, you won't die, to put it really simply, because that actually factors in. So with this build, you will literally have 390 procs of each when you use your second ability. It's going to feel ridiculously strong. You'll be super tanky. Achilles is able to play on the front line and just kind of poke them out a little bit with his team and execute them, is able to dive in the back line. Super dynamic, can do either thing with him. This is the build we're going Sundering, Blackthorn, Glad Shield, Prophetic, Amulet of the Stronghold, and Stone of Binding. This way we're getting 30% cooldown, a lot of shared prots, and again, we'll be able to get that Prophetic Cloak, double mitigations. We'll be super tanky in the win condition for this pick, and we'll have YouTube videos and stuff detailing this a little bit more intimately on streams, on YouTube videos, all that, so feel free to check that out. But the very simple thing is, you know, a lot of the game oftentimes stalls out at Fire Giants, Gold Furies, Pyromancers, 20 minutes plus in the game. This is kind of your icebreaker. You're going to play poke. All you're going to do is sit from a max distance of your first ability and just get Sundering Axe procs on the frontliners. It's that simple. You're effectively playing Thoth as a tank, and you're just going to whittle down those frontliners with that Sundering Axe, obviously be stealing health, gaining them in case you take a little bit of damage. You're going to go TP Blink on this character with a Golden Shard, by the way, for the early game, or a Horn Shard. It's totally a preference thing on the shard. Yeah, you're literally just going to use that Sundering Axe, poke out frontliners, gain better positioning on that Pyromancer, Fire Giant, or Gold Fury, force the guy back, and be able to pull it yourself. Super simple. Or that might even just like allow like a true engage. The idea is that you're just gaining a health advantage so that when you do initially start that fight, if you want to play backline, you want to play counter dive, whatever it might be, you're starting it advantageously. So Achilles is really great at doing that. Another character that's going to function extremely similarly, but is just a little bit maybe more difficult as a character, but I think has a higher payoff, and I do believe this is the best solo laner in the game, is Osiris. I know people think going an auto attack build is good. I promise you it's okay. But this is definitely a better build, going a more ability-based build. You're going to be maxing the second ability on this character, and you're doing that mostly for secure. With this build, you're going to have 31% mitigations permanently when your passive is up, which is obviously ridiculous. This Equinox could be a Blackthorn or a Frostbound, mind you. Just note that you will likely be selling it. You don't have to, but you will likely be selling it for a Pridwin or a Stone of Binding late game. But again, super high prots in this build. It's about like 540 or something like that. So you're going to have the double mitigations, and yeah, effectively you just kind of don't die. You just walk forward, Sundering Axe people. Extremely easy win con. Your relics are going to be TP Blink, Horn Shard, or Golden Shard's good. I recommend going Golden Shard though. And you can't really die. It just, getting to the build, getting it online can be a little bit difficult if you don't play the character, but Osiris has really strong lanes. Again, I recommend just maxing the 2, playing your range, spam poke. It's going to take a bit to kind of get familiar, but the moment you do, this character is absolutely broken. Super safe in those team fights. Again, all you have to do is just stay in your passive, get poke off, and then commit. You can break out of your passive then and just ult in and reapply your passive. All that stuff. Super tanky. Really powerful character. Next one we're going to look at is Chalk. Reason for Chalk is just exceptionally easy. You max your second ability on this character, gain a bunch of protections on him. There are damage builds to go, but I think the defense build is a little bit safer and easier to play, and ultimately is good to get you. It's, you know, it's viable in Grandmasters, so it's absolutely viable in any tier below that. And yeah, Chalk is so good because he's a one-size-fits-all. He's good into every character to some extent, and even the characters he can struggle a little bit into. There are just other fight characters, you know, like an Osiris, he can still survive in very easily. Again, you max your second ability, that's going to give you so many protections, you'll do very well, and you literally just blink ult on back. Redstone is going to kind of function like Achilles' second ability, where it's an increase of percentage prots. So with this build, you will literally have 400 protections when you pop your 2 with Redstone in late game team fights. So you listen, if you're getting picked with that many prots, you know, it might be time to switch roles. So again, extremely easy. This is going to be good in bronze, diamond, gold, masters, doesn't matter. Play Chalk. Absolutely, especially if you're first pick, because there's really no safer first pick to do from this role. Next character we're going to look at is Bologna. Bologna is an auto attacker, which means that automatically she's going to kind of give you a lot of versatility with objectives. And instead of something like Amaterasu, Bologna actually has pressure. Super important. Pressure wins you games, especially in ranked. So rushing an Equinox or a Frostbound here is good. Either one is fine. You're going to go Animosity Axe into Frostbound, Berserkers, Kinsai, Shoguns. This breastplate lasts here. You know, these other items are all enhancing your auto attacks. This last breastplate, this could be a Pridwin, could be a Spirit Robe, is just to get you some cooldowns so you can have your ults up more often. This character is a little bit one-dimensional in the fact that she kind of just needs to dive and stuff, which I know makes her seem maybe like less valuable than an Achilles, but she dives so effectively and can just do so much damage that like just getting a little bit of cooldown so you can have your ults up more so you can do that one dynamic better and more frequently of just diving is exceptionally powerful and just makes this character super good in lane. You can get all those totems and just really kind of have a killing in every matchup you're playing. Last character here is Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong, you're going to build a little bit differently. You're going to be building him with some damage. You're going Bluestone Brooch, Blackthorn, Soul Eater, Glad Shield, Onis, and Stone of Binding. This way, you're just a little bit tanky, but you're able to kind of play like a jungler, flank around a lot, get little bits of poke. This is almost like a Tsukiyomi or a Kamazotz, if you want to imagine those. With some more defense, and you're just able to blink in. You're going TP Blink Horn Shard, by the way. You're going to be able to blink in, use your knock up, blink in, use your slow, auto, use your knock up, get out, use your ultimate to follow up even further, or just disengage. Either way, you know, super easy. Again, you're not maybe the most traditional frontliner with this character. The Stone of Binding is a subjective item. You could go Brawlers instead. You could go Crusher. You could go Heartseeker. You could go Spirit Robe, even if you really wanted to, because you're, you know, I don't know if you're really struggling with the amount of CC that you're dealing with, but generally speaking, again, this is kind of this flanky solo laner, a little bit less tanky, but the payoff is super high. You can play this character bad, and still have a lot of value and probably get to a diamond level. And if you play him exceptionally, he is a top pick even in Grandmasters. So absolutely do recommend him. We're going to cycle over to junglers now, which I'm a little bit less knowledgeable about, but fortunately learn a little bit about every role. And I've talked to some SEC, SPL players to make sure that these builds are absolutely kind of the things you want to be going. So one of the top 5 characters we'll be looking at is Kamazotz. What does Kamazotz do? Well, his ultimate is so unbelievably safe. You can't be targeted in it. It makes it so that even though you don't really have CC as a character, your 1v1s against junglers are fantastic. Kamazotz really doesn't lose any 1v1s. There's a couple he's worse in, but even the matchups he's worse in the 1v1 aspect, he can always just ult out, and he's extremely safe, really can't get soloed. You're going to be going Bumba Spear into Blackthorn. Blackthorn is extremely strong, just a lot of health and power. Literally more power than Joe Ins, is cheaper, and gives 350 health, so just ridiculous. Soul Eater for sustain, Serrated for even more sustain, Heartseeker, Brawlers, Bumba's. Really important that you build full damage, especially on a character like this, because you have no CC, so damage is really all you can do. And this build is going to make it so that you can just one-shot backliners. You go Blink Beads on this character, Beads Blink, doesn't really matter. Super, super strong. Max the second ability, make sure to get your Vampire Bats on jungle camps and stuff, on the big creep, so you can get that consistent passive healing and whatnot. It's just on this item, yeah. And that's gonna, you know, be really strong. You also have anti-heal on this character, which a lot of people don't know. That was added within the last season, I believe. And yeah, very, very good. Always safe, good pressure as well. Another character that we're gonna be looking at is Thor. Now, I will say Thor is definitely a bit of a harder character, but the idea of not having comms and ranked, you know, Thor is a difficult character to play against in Grandmasters and professional games, even with communication, but especially without, you're able to Anvil of Dawn from weird spots, Fire Giant pits, Gold Fury pits, over to dual lane, over to soul lane, and oftentimes people are just not going to be prepared, even at the highest levels. So especially in lower ranks, it's going to do really well. I will caution, Thor doesn't have the best 1v1 potential necessarily, but he has really great poke. A lot of CC can really aid his team. And this is, again, more of a damage build, but even this Blackthorn is going to help you just survive a little bit. I would recommend going Beads Blink. I put Magi's here as a item that, you know, you might want to go because, again, you'll be ulting in a lot. Magi's is definitely good, so if you are going to go Magi's, it would just be instead of like this Heartseeker or Brawlers or maybe Serrated, just so you're a little bit tankier and ultimately a little bit more survivable. So that's Kamazotz and Thor. Another character we're going to be looking at is Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is kind of, again, like that Wukong that we were talking about earlier, just this poke jungler, incredible 1v1 character. I mean, if Kamazotz is supposed to win every 1v1, Tsukiyomi just does. He really just has so much range, so is able to get that advantageous health differential early on in those 1v1s. Fantastic ult, and I would just caution with ulting in, make sure to do it when the team is kind of in the fray, so you're able to not just get popped the moment you get out. Should be able to like basically 100 to 0 people with just your ultimate if they don't have Aegis. So much sustaining with this build: Bumbas, Blackthorn, Soul Eater, Brawlers, Erendite, Heartseeker. You're gonna have 40% cooldown, so you'll be able to just ability spam to all hell. And again, Beads Aegis on this character typically don't really need Blink, so that Aegis is just another facet of safety. Because you really don't need an active to engage on this character. You just have so much range, and high pressure. His second ability is absurd for trading. His first ability is just OP as well. His slow spams you is so incredibly annoying to play against, and ultimately is very strong. I do have a great Tsukiyomi solo video, by the way, as a side note. Make sure to check that out. Another character, we've got those three that we will be looking at, is going to be Lancelot. Now, Lancelot is a character that got buffed recently, is super, super strong, mainly because, again, on his horse, the only thing that can really get him off if he needs to be gotten off is stuns. So how many junglers have stuns? I mean, you think about Thor, and it kind of just ends there in terms of relevant junglers. You really won't see too much Arachne. So yeah, Lance is ridiculous. So much damage on this character. His ultimate and his shield obviously just make him so that even though you build him full damage, you still feel kind of tanky. Pressure's really good. It's a hard counter to Athena, Daji, Ares, you know, a lot of characters that are very prevalent, and you'll see just destroys because, again, he can't get pulled so when he's on his horse. So just very, very powerful. Again, going this kind of build with Bumba's Spear just means that you're going to be doing a lot of power, like you're going to have a lot of power, a lot of penetration. Hydra's is really great when you use your first ability on the horse, get off, auto attack, and then just pop it again right away. Really, really powerful, kind of like the rising jungler that very well could be the best jungler in the game right now. I would recommend maxing the first ability on him. And then for our last jungle pick, it's going to be Thanatos. Thanatos is a habitual rank stomper. Even then, he's still competitively extremely viable. I don't know if for a top 5 competitive junglers, if Thanatos would be on there. Maybe something like Naja would be instead. But Thana's early game is broken. It's so powerful. And his late game is still extremely strong with that 40% execute, which just means you can pick out frontliners who were, you know, out of position. You're going to be going Eye of the Jungle on this character. I know the item seems a bit weird, but all the pro junglers I talked to about this said Eye is the way to go. You could go Bumba's Spear instead if you wanted to, but just a preference thing. Eye is very good though, and you want to go Protectors or Seer. Either way is fine. You're going to be going into a Blackthorn, Hydra's, Serrated, Bloodforge, and Heartseeker. Again, as with all these junglers, Blink Beads, except for Tsukiyomi, Beads Aegis. Could go Blink even on Suki, but this effectively you're going to have great early game. Your mid game is also fantastic. Your 1v1s tend to be pretty good. And if you don't want to take 1v1s, you literally just execute frontliners, late game, ults on backliners. The game kind of comes to you. I think where people struggle on Thanatos is they force the fight too hard, and they'll try to do everything on your own. Let your frontliners start the fight, or just take damage. They don't even need to start the fight. Let them get engaged on, and then just play cleanup, as you should as any jungler, but especially as Thanatos. Can easily climb. This is a fan favorite for people smurfing and ranking up their accounts, so for good reason. And to this day, despite having some subtle nerfs, still absolutely one of the best junglers to climb up in that rank. So again, this was Snaddy. I really appreciate Valve for this opportunity, and I will see you guys sometime soon. Thank you, thank you.
And thank you, Snaddy, for providing your insight. If you aren't already subbed, please do. Sub to me and Snaddy. Check out his Twitch, check out my Twitch, join my Discord. It's going to be linked down below. I wasn't advertising it for a bit for some reason. I'm advertising it now. Other than that, though, appreciate you watching. Like, comment, share, all the YouTube garbage, and peace.